When you think about businesses that are selling through the roof, like Aloe or Allbirds, sure, you think about a great product, a cool brand, and great marketing. But an often overlooked secret is actually the businesses behind the business, making selling, and for shoppers, buying, simple. For millions of businesses, that business is Shopify. Nobody does online business better than Shopify. It's home of Shop Pay, the #1 checkout in the world. You can use it to boost conversions up to 50%, meaning way less carts going abandoned and way more sales going through to checkout. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/income, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/income to upgrade your selling today. That's shopify.com/income.
Does it ever feel like you're a marketing professional just speaking into the void? But with LinkedIn ads, you can know you're reaching the right decision makers, a network of 130 million of them, in fact. You can even target buyers by job title, industry, company, seniority, skills, and did I say job title? See how you can avoid the void and reach the right buyers with LinkedIn ads. Spend $250 on your first campaign and get a free $250 credit for the next one. Get started at linkedin.com/campaign. Terms and conditions apply.
Hi, I'm Ethan, and I'm not Gen X, but listening and watching Gen X Grown Up makes me feel like I am. If you want the same experience I've had, consider becoming a patron at genxgrownup.com/Patreon.
No life, no fun. Don't you know that you're a grown-up?
Gen X Grown Up is a YouTube channel, website, and audio podcast you're listening to right now. All made for and by people who love exploring media, games, tech, and toys of yesterday and today through the eyes of Gen Xers who refuse to grow up.
Your dinner cannot just be French fries. Basically, life sucks as a grown-up.
Welcome back, Gen X Grown Up podcast listener, to this, the backtrack edition of the Gen X Grown Up podcast. I am John. Joining me as always, of course, is Mo. Hey, man.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. You know, it's not a show without George. Hey, George.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
In this episode, we're diving into one of the most intriguing and mysterious television series of the late 70s and early 80s, In Search Of. ... With its eerie narration and fascination with the unexplained, it explored everything from ancient mysteries to paranormal phenomena. We'll talk about how it came to be, why it captures so many imaginations, and what makes it so fascinating to revisit still today. We're going to be jumping into that in just a few minutes. But first, it is time for some fourth listener email. And our fourth listener this time around, this is really interesting, 12-year-old listener. 12 years old.
So our age level, huh?
Yes.
That's some bad parenting right there, ladies and gentlemen.
Our intellectual age level, right? Exactly. Bad parenting, says George.
That is awesome.
You can't
parenting.
control what these kids listen to. That's right. The email is from Raul G. Here's what Raul had to say. Hey guys, I'm only 12 and already I know so much and yet so little of Gen X.
I like him already.
Right? Yeah, I can't believe I missed out on the best time. You're right, Raul. But we'll keep bringing it to you. Colorful items, rooms dedicated to playing games, millions of buttons on and for everything. Your channel has helped me learn so much more of this revolutionary time that I sadly missed out on. Wow.
Oh, man.
What? Okay. Is this 12-year-old chat GPT using words like revolutionary and stuff?
Well, these kids are smart these days.
Listen
to us,
Hey,
they're very
George,
smart.
Exactly. He likes us. He must be intelligent.
No, that's the wrong way to look at that.
No. I'm sticking with that.
He goes on to say, I'm watching your Back to the Future podcast, and this is actually the first podcast I've watched at all over on YouTube. Yep.
Okay.
I love Back to the Future with a passion. I have a whole collection from Universal Studios Back to the Future limited edition collection. John never fails to disappoint with his videos. George is informing us always in bit by bit. And Mo is just Mo.
I'm okay with that, actually.
Yeah. Hey, if you could be Mo, it's a good job to have. I like it. He wraps it up saying, live long and prosper. Spock emoji.
Spock emoji.
Raul.
Nice.
Thank you, Raul. He has a PS, by the way. What are each of you guys buying from My Arcade's new wave of epic artifacts coming out in a a little while?
I have not figured that out yet.
You haven't figured that out?
I'm sure I'm going to buy something, but...
Yeah, well,
I'm just going to wait till they ship me something for free. You must not have listened to this podcast real closely.
To know you're waiting. Well, I'm really excited about the Outrun, the
that's gonna be
driving
cool.
things. It has Outrun on it. Of course, the Game Station Go is a big thing for me. I'm excited about that. So there's so much. It sounds like maybe not every one of their products is going to ship in 2025, but that just gives us more to look forward to going into the beginning of 2026 here in a little bit. So yeah, we'll keep you informed, Raul. We're happy that you found us, that you're enjoying the show. Don't tell your parents. Especially don't tell him you listen to George, because he's real foul-mouthed. You got to watch out.
He is real foul mouth.
Yeah,
Don't that guy.
Or if we do curse, blame it on George.
Yeah, right. It's not my fault. It's the podcast. It's our fault.
I'm expanding his vocabulary. Not that it needs it. The guy writes better than I do. But
Thank you for listening and writing in, Raul. We appreciate you. Fourth listener, if you'd like your email featured here on the show, it's drop dead easy. Just hit us up at podcast@GenXGrownUp.com and read every single one. And most of them, like Raul's, will eventually make its way to the show. All right. With that good business behind us, it's time to jump in the body of this backtrack all about In Search Of right after this.
Hey, it's Paris. You know I love sparkly things, right? Like stars. Duh. And thanks to Hilton and AutoCamp, I just slept under them. Picture me, serving looks by the fire outside my luxurious Airstream, making s'mores with the kids, while a national park is our backdrop. The great outdoors meets Hilton hospitality. That's hot. Explore all the new ways to stay at Hilton.com. Hilton for the stay.
You're listening to Gen X Grown Up. But if you have a friend who's not yet listening, why not? Tell them about us. They'll thank you later.
A giant, hairy creature, part ape, part man. Indians call him Sasquatch. They believe he is as gentle as he is powerful and mysterious. He's been seen many times in the rugged mountains and deep woods of the Pacific Northwest. The encounters have not always been peaceful. In 1924, a small group of men were working a mine in a canyon near Mount St. Helens in Washington. One night, the miners took their weapons inside and bolted the door. They thought they were secure for the evening. Outside, something strange was happening. The cabin was under attack. Boulders rained on the roof, and someone, or something, was trying to break in. The miners later described their attackers as large, hairy apes. The siege lasted several hours. Escaped injury that night. The area now known as Ape Canyon is one of the many places in the Northwest where man continues his hunt for this elusive creature we call Bigfoot.
In this backtrack edition of the show, we are talking all about the 1977 through mid-80s television series called In Search Of. Now, this was hosted by Leonard Nimoy, and it focused on mysterious phenomena.
Don't forget, it's In Search Of ...
Right, it has ellipsis at the end. That's the official name. If you listen to the show more than once ever in the past, you know that I especially have a fixation on weird, mysterious cryptids and mysteries and crime and stuff like that. And my fascination, all of us, with documentaries. And this just really hit that sweet spot for me when I was a kid. Now, as I said, it first aired April 17th, 1977, ran for initially, there's more of it, but it ran initially for, I think, 6 seasons. And it was something that I never missed. Now, these guys are humoring me, allowing me to talk about In Search Of on the podcast. They watched it some, not as big a fan as I am. But Mo, I wonder if you would share with the listeners what other kinds of stuff was going on in television at the time. What was the landscape like back then?
So actually, I did a little bit of Google searching here and said, what were the top 10 shows when In Search Of first aired, like its first couple of years? So I'm going to start 10, go down real quick. Number 10 was Fantasy Island.
Yeah.
Number 9, Love Boat. Okay. Number 8 was MASH. Number 7, Little House on the Prairie. Number 6, All in the Family.
Sure.
Number 5, Charlie's Angels.
Okay.
4, 60 Minutes.
Ooh.
3, Three's Company. Just
all right,
quinky dinky there. 2 was Happy Days. You guys want to take a guess what number 1 was?
In 77?
Yeah.
Laverne and Shirley?
You got it. That was it. Laverne and Shirley was number 1.
Wow.
So nothing at all like In Search Of. None of these shows are even in the same neighborhood as In Search
60
Of.
Minutes is at least news documentary in some form or fashion, right? So nothing else was quite like it. Yeah. So interesting. I never knew this connection, but I learned in researching for this episode that In Search Of was created after the success of just some standalone documentaries created by Alan Landsberg. Now, Alan Landsberg is the guy that produced In Search Of itself. He did 3 documentaries, the first in 73 called Ancient Astronauts. I know, own, and have watched that documentary. In Search of Ancient Mysteries, 1974. I know, own, and have watched that. And The Outer Space Connection, 1975, which I know, own, and have watched that many times.
What's that one about?
The Outer Space Connection?
Yeah.
It's all about how UFOs are connected. It's kind of like Ancient Aliens, the series now, how they're connected to connected to paranormal stuff. I have watched and loved those all my life and never knew they were effectively the backdoor pilots for this series that I've loved all my life. So it turns out because they were so successful that they were said, hey, would you like to just do your own series on all about this? I said, sure, absolutely. So it aired again, starting in 77. In Australia, it aired starting in 1980, but they changed the name. I don't know why. They called it Great Mysteries of the World. Huh. And then we're going to talk a bit about the host of this show, the very famous host, Leonard Nimoy. They swapped out, and I guess they supplanted, they added a new introduction and conclusion by television presenter Scott Lambert. I don't know if Leonard Nimoy wasn't as famous in Australia or why they needed to have somebody else do it.
Was Scott Lambert Australian?
No, he's not, I don't think.
Oh,
well,
I have no idea.
Even still, though, you say they put an introduction and conclusion with him on it, but Nimoy talks throughout the episode.
I know, he's still in it.
So did they not replace Nimoy's voice during the episode with Lambert?
Nope.
That's a very odd choice.
They just sandwiched it. Isn't that odd? It's quite strange. Yeah. Now, we're going to talk more about the kind of topics that they have, but typically this show it started out at least, is all the things you expect that you would have seen in the Mysteries of the Unknown books from Time Life, like pyramids and Bigfoot and Loch Ness Monster and stuff like that. And it really evolved over time. And I'd like to do in these episodes is a quick round robin and get the temperature of the room, what kind of familiarity each of you have with this series. And I've kind of spilled the beans already with mine. So why don't we start with you, George? How much, if at all, did you watch this show? You're familiar with it?
I don't think I really watched it. It was more one of those things of osmosis where I knew of it, kind of like you with some of the movies that we're always shocked that you haven't watched, like Blade Runner, where you remember parts because you saw something here or there, or somebody told you about a scene or something like that. So it forms in your mind that you maybe watched it, but you really didn't. I'm just aware enough to know that I don't believe that I watched this. It's not something that would have been interesting to either of my parents, which it would have needed to be in order for me to get an opportunity to watch it during the late 70s, because we only had the one TV. We didn't have VCR, obviously, or anything like that. And my father pretty much dominated the television when he was home, and when he wasn't, I was watching cartoons, Thundar, and that kind of stuff. So I don't think I watched it that much, but I definitely knew about it, and I'll talk a little bit about it when we get into the segment where we each champion an episode of ours, because I did go back and watch it in preparation for this a little bit on your Plex server.
Right. Cool. Mo, how about you? Familiarity with In Search Of?
Oh, yeah. I watched it for sure. See, I remember definitely watching like the first few seasons. Yeah. And then I think I probably fell off at some point. I'm not sure why. Yep. I know my dad, it was definitely one of those shows, whenever I was watching it, he just kind of walked in, rolled his eyes, and walked out again. He's like, all right, whatever. Because it's over dramatized. But one thing I would say about this show, though, is in preparing for this show, it's hard to classify what kind of show it actually was. Because some of it's mystery stuff. Some of it's not mystery stuff.
Right.
Some of it is very documentary-ish. Some of it is pure speculation.
Speculative,
completely So it was kind of hard to say. It's like, is it a documentary? Is it not? I mean, I don't know how to put it. I just know that I enjoyed watching it.
Yeah. Well, the gateway in was the fact that it was hosted by Leonard Nimoy for me. And it turns out that was what got me in, but it's not what kept me there. It was my love of extra normal anything. And as you said, it wasn't all extra normal stuff, but that's what it was in the beginning. And that's what got me hooked on it. And I have a specific little story that I want to share is that I loved watching the episodes about, or maybe more than one, 3, I don't know, about Stonehenge. Just amazing. The organization of stones out in the middle of, outside the UK. And I remember watching that and thinking that might as well be on the moon. I would love to see it, but I will never, ever. This little kid who lives on a dirt road in Central Florida is never going to go to Stonehenge. And then years and years later, my wife and I took a vacation for our 20th anniversary to London and took a day trip out to Stonehenge.
Yeah, great.
And I remember standing there, and I kid you not, in my ears was ringing the theme song of In Search of. Like, I never thought I would be here. But it was a transformative show that let me see things that I was fascinated by that would never probably thought I would ever get to see in my real life. And even though some of them were kind of weird and creepy and off the wall, some people might say, others were, as you said, Mo, very, very like down to earth about real crimes or real leaders of the world or whatever. And speaking of that theme song, the very reminiscent, I have it here for you guys to hear in a second, haunting synth-heavy song composed by Lauren M. Rinder and W. Michael Lewis. Now, they also released an album under the name The In Search of Orchestra with 9 tracks inspired by the series, but they actually wrote the original theme. So if you've ever watched it even once, this is going to ring in your ears. Yep.
Bigfoot.
Right, just popping up these things. Mysteries.
Loch Ness Monster.
Aliens. Amelia Earhart, different things popping up.
It made me feel like the series belonged on PBS.
Yeah.
Really? I think it sounds really 70s. Like,
oh, it is 70s.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
70s PBS.
There's a chord structure progression in there that I like this series so much that I've even ripped the audio down to audio only so I can listen to it in earbuds like a podcast sometimes when I'm going to sleep or something. There's something just the cadence of Leonard Nimoy and the music and the interviews with people that aren't good in interviews just altogether ended up being a pretty remarkable package of a show that I still go back and watch it today, and it is rewatchable for those reasons. But it's funny that there are parts of it, not for its own fault because time has passed, that oddly didn't hold up. We're going to talk about some of that too in a little bit. But stick around. We'll be right back with more on In Search Of.
With a major selection of the looks your kiddos love starting at just $4 in the Walmart app, a new school year means a stylish new them. Who knew? Find skater skirts and Crocs that say, I'm casual but cool. Sparkly sneakers that say, it's my classroom, you're just learning in it. And preppy polos that say, I'm the teacher's pet, even if they're mommy's menace at home. Find their favorite styles starting at just $4 in the app. The Walmart you thought you knew is now new.
This episode is brought to you by Nespresso and Samra Origins by the Weekend Coffee Collection.
Introducing Samra Origins. My collaboration with Nespresso is a connection to my roots, to my mother, Samra. Coffee that hits the right notes. It transports you. Crafted with unique notes and bold, soaring flavors. Experience a taste that moves you. Nespresso and Samra Origins.
Discover more at Nespresso.com.
Be sure to subscribe to or follow GenXGrownUp wherever you listen. And while you're there, rate and review the show too. It helps more than you know.
On a mysterious pinpoint in the Pacific Ocean called Easter Island, a gathering of stone giants guards the shore. No one knows who carved them, why they exist, or how the 50-ton monsters were put into place. Yet they're here, unexplainable gargantuan pieces in baffling mystery. In the jungles of Central America, colossal stone heads were discovered 80 miles from where they were originally carved. Weighing 100 tons, there is no clue as to how they were transported through dense swamp, nor do we know who moved them to this remote jungle. Long before the Egyptians built the pyramids, someone constructed a vast stone city atop a peak in the Andes. The ruins stand empty and silent. Each carving is a disconnected figure from the past, yet some common origin might join them together. The earth itself bears the portraits of still other giants scratched onto a plateau in California 10,000 years ago. Others were etched with precision into an English hillside long before the building of Stonehenge. The tools to carve and move the giants indicate an advanced technology. There is a place where the knowledge and skills to create the giants may be found. The kingdom of Atlantis. Never before have explorers been so close to finding Atlantis. Never have we possessed as many clues, nor have we been able to bring the detection equipment of modern science to the search. Until now.
The first thing you probably know, if you know anything about In Search Of, and we've said it a couple of times, hosted by Leonard Nimoy. And Leonard Nimoy was not the first choice to host this series. Those 3 original documentaries that we talked about that were kind of the backdoor pilots, every single one of those was narrated by Rod Serling.
Of course. Of course.
That makes sense.
Who else, right?
Of course. And he's awesome. Awesome. It's probably why I like those documentaries themselves. They're, you know, the cadence of Serling's voice. And that's who they wanted for this. Unfortunately, he passed away before production on In Search Of began. So they started looking around. And Leonard Nimoy, of course, famous from Star Trek. But by that point, Star Trek had been off for half a decade or so.
Yeah.
He had done some other things, but he was a well-known celebrity, but not currently working on a project. And so they approached him and they said, yeah.
Was he like, I wonder, was he like their first choice? I wonder after Serling, just kind of curious about that. I'm sure, I mean, it's a smart choice. It was a smart choice to make.
It is a smart choice. Yeah. And it helped. My brother, of course, is the one who turned me on to Star Trek, but he wasn't into creepy stuff, but he would watch In Search Of with me because Leonard Nimoy was on it, because Spock was on it.
Yeah.
Now, interestingly, though he's the host, and depending on which ones you saw, you might have noticed, Nimoy is rarely seen on camera. He's sometimes in the beginning and sometimes at the end, but he's mostly just
a
narrating.
Voice. Yeah.
Yeah, right. And he had other people who went out. Look, you can imagine Nimoy wasn't flying around the world interviewing nutcases about the Loch Ness Monster. They had people, second unit people doing that, right? He was narrating it. But there is one very notable episode called In Search of Van Gogh. Now, you might know Nimoy is a huge Van Gogh nut. He has a fascination. He wrote a one-man play called Vincent that he put on one time. Now, in this episode, you spend the entire episode riding shotgun with Nimoy. You dine in French cafes. You visit Vincent Van Gogh's old haunts. And at one point, he delivers a moving, dramatic monologue based on Van Gogh's last moments with his brother. This was a passion project for Nimoy in this episode. And it was the only one really that you got to see him throughout the episode. Otherwise, he's just the voice in your head.
I wonder if that was a condition of him doing his show. Is like, I get a Van Gogh episode.
A writer? Yeah, probably.
I'll do anything you want to. So just give me Van Gogh episode as one of them.
Yeah, it's already written.
Yeah.
Now, you alluded to this, Mo. The show evolved over time. You said, it wasn't always about creepy paranormal stuff. But so I jotted down, what I went through is the first 6 seasons. I mentioned the original run is 6 seasons. We'll talk about what I mean by first in a little while. But I pulled some samples of how the show evolved over time. I get the feeling that it ran longer than they expected it to. I get the feeling
out of ideas.
They ran out of core creepy things and mysterious things to do. So let me get your reaction to this. So let's start season 1. Of course, they're going to load everything up. Bermuda Triangle.
Yeah.
Bigfoot. Martians. Atlantis. ESP. Amelia Earhart. UFOs. Life after death. It's
just
all the
small
core
mysteries.
stuff. Yeah. It's the things you're gonna cover, right?
Right.
So look, they got renewed for a second season, and they're like, great. What are we gonna do? Oh, we still got plenty. Firewalkers, Mayan mysteries, okay, astrology, the pyramids, good mystery there in Egypt.
Yeah,
reincarnation, all right.
Good one, always a good one.
Witch doctors,
crowd pleaser,
haunted castles.
Oh yeah,
not bad.
I love how it's haunted castles specifically.
Right, not regular
haunted houses. Haunted
castles. Haunted castles. I see. Yeah, and that's where it kind of takes a turn. And I remember noticing this myself when I was young and watching this, and even throughout the years. Like the later seasons, they're not worse or better. They cover more diverse things because how many times can you talk about Bigfoot? Well, we talked about Bigfoot and Skunk Ape and the Yeti. That's 3 different versions of Bigfoot, basically. What are you going to do? So let's roll into the 3rd season. All right. Tornadoes. Cloning.
Okay.
Jack the Ripper.
Ooh.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah. Okay.
Good mystery, right? Not paranormal.
Yeah.
It's a real mystery. Yeah. Very much like a documentary, like Mo said. Cryogenics. The Great Lakes Triangle. That's where I learned about that. In addition to the Bermuda Triangle. Yeah.
Right.
Sherlock Holmes.
Oh, did he exist, I guess? Was he a real person? Was that it? Or
And you ready for this one? Here's where we haven't jumped the shark yet, but we're putting on the skis. Animal ESP.
Oh. The title of that sounds awful, but I understand that episode almost instinctively because how many times do we see like a disaster about to happen and animals start going nuts, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, I can see that episode. The title is a little
Yeah. Now, as I said,
but still.
they're still good. They're just not what you might expect would be happening in Search Of.
And it's funny. I mean, you also kind of forget like the reenactments in these things.
Mm-hmm.
And some were just so goofy. But and I find like the more true life ones were, I don't know if they were actually worse in a way, the reenactments, because it's like reenacting something real. So it's like,
reenactments are hardly ever good, though. I mean, it was.
Yeah, it's true. It's very true.
Almost a decade later, and we get America's Most Wanted, and that was some of the worst reenactments in history. They even made fun of those in other TV series.
Right. But they're fun to watch ironically because they're so goofy.
Right.
Right. Okay. We're midway through the run, 4th season. Tidal Waves.
I just watched that one actually because I was sitting there like random with like Tidal Waves. I watched it.
Amityville Horror.
Oh yeah, very topical.
Yeah. Immortal Sharks. Okay, all right. Then straight up history. Pompeii.
Yeah.
Okay.
DB Cooper.
That's a big mystery, actually.
That was a good one for me.
Yeah.
I should have
watched. And a great
that
episode too. It was really well done. It's a documentary of a true thing. Yeah. San Andreas Fault.
Before The Rock got a hold of that movie.
Yeah. Oh God. Volcano of Los Angeles.
Yeah. Okay. So let's keep rolling. You ready? 5th season. It's really going somewhere now. They're like, it's still going. We're still doing it. All right. We got some more episodes. Faith Healing.
Okay. That's a mystery.
They got that one ahead of Penn and Teller's bullshit series.
Yeah. Big time.
Lee Harvey Oswald.
So JFK, really, right?
Yeah. Life After Death. Okay.
Again,
they did that first season.
It's actually Life After Life was the title of that episode.
Oh, was it? Oh, really?
And it's about people who claim they had an afterlife experience.
Oh,
an
sorry.
After death experience, you mean?
Well, they're calling it Life After Life experience, but that's what the thing says. Had an afterlife experience. So yeah.
An afterlife experience. Okay. More true crime. The Lindbergh kidnapping. The Lindbergh baby, right? So
there's some controversy there on that one, so I can see that.
Right. Jimmy Hoffa, Unsolved Mystery of Jimmy Hoffa. Right?
Where he's buried? Everyone knows it's Giant Stadium. I mean, come on.
Right. It's in the end zone, right? Here's another one, George. You said, weird name, but you right away understand it. Super Children.
I don't think I understand that one right away.
No?
Is that eugenics stuff they're talking about? Like breeding?
Like prodigy kids. Like kids with amazing abilities that like, how can kids learn these languages so fast or play piano so fast or whatever? They're super children. Yeah. And then, so maybe now we're probably heading towards the shark ramp, I think. So 6th season, I just pulled a sampling. They don't go off the rails, but they keep reaching a little further. Jesse James. I mean,
there was a mystery about whether he actually died, right?
Yeah.
A lot of different stuff around Jesse James and his gang.
Yeah.
Yep. The Elephant Man. Sure.
Not so much how much mystery there, but okay.
So it's a medical mystery, I guess, right?
Yeah,
but
I suppose,
we know what happened. Houdini. All right.
Okay.
Nostradamus. Not bad.
Okay, I can see that one.
Ava Braun.
What the hell?
Okay.
I'm trying to figure out what the mystery is there.
Right.
So you guys keep saying the word mystery. That's not the title of this series.
But saying in search of, which means that there's
In
something to
search of,
find.
meaning
Which means there's something
learning
to
about the
find,
topic.
right? That means there's something to find.
No, it doesn't. It
Yeah,
could
it
be
does. Yeah,
in
it
search
does.
of
You don't search for things
the
you know where they
knowledge
are.
of the thing.
If you know where it is, you wouldn't be searching.
You don't have to.
You just say, there it is. You just point.
You can search for knowledge.
But you don't know it ahead of time. You're searching for it.
So people may not know about Eva Braun.
They clearly set up the show initially for mysterious paranormal things. To your point, George, they clearly expanded the range because the title was so imprecise that they were able to go in all these different directions and still maintain the course of the show. So you could be in search of Bigfoot, or you could be in search of knowledge about Eva Braun or whatever. Last couple I pulled from this one, Spirit Voices and The Walls of Jericho.
I guess whether they existed, whether it happened or not, I guess, right?
Yeah, it's really interesting how this series continued for so long. And even after it was canceled, we'll talk about it in a little while, even after it was canceled, it wasn't forgotten. They kind of revivals came along. But as it progressed, you got to watch Leonard Nimoy have a mustache, not have a mustache when you saw him at different times. But he was always the same kind of serious host, regardless of whether they gave him something really juicy that was based in the core of the show or whether it was something off the wall like Immortal Sharks or whatever. They approach it like it's not weird. It's just, we're going to dig into this and find out what it's about.
Yeah, that's the thing, though. It's kind of like, regardless of what they were covering, the tone of the show never changed. Like the tone and the format, even like it kind of treated them all the same, I guess, in a way. But yeah, I see what you mean, though. Like how, I mean, honestly, if you had a show about like mysteries, like weird mysteries, I mean, how long can you go before you start repeating yourself? Really,
you run out of stuff. Yeah.
Without expanding it out or expanding your definition some. So I said, it was a still popular show up until the end, I believe. So I guess they tapped into something.
Kept running it. Yeah, absolutely. All right, when we get back, we're going to each pick a notable or memorable episode from In Search Of to talk about. Stick around.
Only Murders in the Building, Season 5.
The hit Hulu original is back.
The night Lester died, he was talking with this mobster.
Was he killed in a hit?
We need to go face to face with the mob.
Get ready for a season
Buongiorno, signore.
Oh, this is how I die.
you can't refuse.
You're gonna save the day, like you always do, by being smart, sharp, and almost always by mistake.
The Hulu original series, Only Murders in the Building, premieres September 9. Streaming on Hulu and Hulu on Disney Plus for bundle subscribers. Terms apply. New episodes Tuesdays.
This episode is brought to you by FXX and Hulu. Futurama returns on September 15th, blending heartfelt moments with razor-sharp humor while accidentally saving the day. The Planet Express crew is back, defying gravity and common sense. From the creator of The Simpsons comes 10 new episodes where the romance is hotter, the threats are bigger, and the action hits harder. Don't miss the all-new season of Futurama returning September 15th at 8 p.m. Watch it on FXX or stream it on Hulu.
Each episode of Gen X Grown Up has show notes loaded with links where you can learn more about our topics. And there's even more to see and hear over at GenXGrownUp.com.
Beneath a strange old oak tree, the search began. In 1795, 3 boys found a deep pit built a century before. They were convinced it held something of immense value. The clues uncovered were so tantalizing that men have been digging ever since. Today, 2 centuries later, the search continues for the buried treasure of Oak Island.
So we all have either watched or absorbed via osmosis In Search Of, but more importantly, leading up to this backtrack, we all went back and watched some of this Leonard Nimoy series. Now, even though it came from the late 70s, it lived through the early 80s, and I watched it in repeats. We all were able to see it in repeats for years. It only came to DVD about 10 years ago, so
really?
It used to be it just had crappy copies, but now that we have kind of talked about how the show evolved, I thought maybe we would, kind of like we do with musical episodes, champion an episode. What is an episode that's notable or memorable for you? And I'm going to start with you, Mo. What kind of comes to mind?
So the reason why there's a reason why this was notable. It wasn't necessarily my favorite episode, but it's one that stuck in my head for years. And it's the one on killer bees. Now, you guys, I mean, I'm older than you guys, so you probably don't have quite as vivid a memory of it, but that was like a big, like people were freaked about these killer bees coming up from South America, coming through Central America. Oh yeah. And they're going to sweep across the United States and kill everybody.
Wow.
And the thing is, I grew up in New York City, so bees weren't really on my forefront of my brain at all, except I was going to summer camp that year. And I saw this episode, and I started like, and the only thing that made me feel better after watching this episode was that apparently at that point in killer bees were only in Texas and California. They hadn't gotten up to New York yet, so I felt okay. But I still remember watching this thing like very intently because I was like, what do I do if I find a killer bee? What do I do if a killer bee comes after me? And I was 10. So I'm trying to figure out what to do. But it was also just looking back, it was one of the ones I rewatched because I remembered it so well. And it was just funny how it is a very understated show. Like it wasn't like, and people are going to die. It was like, it was just like, the fear of killer bees are going to sweep across. And they had the map of the United States. You see the killer bees expanding, going across
kind of
the
matter
US.
of fact, right?
Yeah,
like,
very
here's
factual,
how it is. Yeah.
And And of course, it turned out a whole lot of nothing eventually, right? Because we're all still alive, and killer bees haven't killed the population. But it reminded me of the murder hornets that were around that long ago.
Right.
But yeah, for some reason, like I said, that stuck in my head because it was right around the time I started going to summer camp, and also I was like, bees, because I had no experience with them, so now I had to worry about killer bees. But this actually made me feel better, so that was mine.
Oh, good. So George, you had said that you didn't watch fervently when you were young. You were a little young for it, maybe, but you've watched some now. So do you have a notable one that kind of stuck with you?
Yeah, and this is one of those ones where I think as I rewatched it in prep for the podcast today, I remember a couple of parts of this episode before I watched it this time. And
like
it
they
was
click your...
it was the episode called Atlantis. So it was all about the mystery of the hidden sunken city and everything. And the scene that I remembered about it, because it kind of related a little bit to Florida, because it was off the Florida coast a little bit, was where they found in this part of the world, they found these like big giant stone slabs just underneath the surface of the water. And they were attributing those to possibly being a roadway to Atlantis. And when I saw that part, I'm like, oh, yeah, I remember this exact scene. I remember seeing it in my head.
The big blocks,
I just conflated something that made me think I remembered it. But either way, that episode was, to me, indicative of what In Search of was, because like I was saying earlier, I felt like this was something that was more akin to something that in the early days should have been on a PBS station as opposed to network TV. It reminded me an awful lot of maybe experiences that I had in, say, middle school, watching like film reels in class that our teacher would show when they didn't want to teach that day or something.
Right.
This kind of felt like something I would have watched during one of those sessions of class. So it's definitely homed in on the 70s. I know it might have ran into the early 80s a little bit and whatnot. And you said there were more than just the 6 seasons later on.
Right.
But this original series just felt like it was 100% in the 70s. You mentioned that DB Cooper. I want to go back and watch that one now that I realize that that's there, because there have been a ton of documentaries about DB Cooper since then. And every time there's something new that's been learned, I just want to kind of see where it was back then compared to now.
Exactly. It's almost as if you intentionally segued me into mine, because one of the interesting things about going back and watching this is because it's stuck in time. And so imagine if, for example, we had discovered Atlantis in 2018. In Search Of doesn't know that, right? Exactly. And so when it covers it, it's never been found, right? So it's not there at all. And so the one that sticks with me is not my favorite episode either. I have many, many favorites. I'd be hard pressed to pick a favorite. But most notable in that I discovered it after the fact. Like you're going to discover DB Cooper, George, after the fact, right?
Right.
So there's an episode called The Money Pit Mystery, a.k.a. Captain Kidd.
Yep.
Now, this is about the small island just off the coast of Nova Scotia, where allegedly some pirates buried some treasure, and it has now become like a 15-year running Discovery Channel series called The Curse of Oak Island about this exact same mystery. And what's fascinating is, again, going back and watching it, and if you watch The Curse of Oak Island, the In Search Of episode is a snapshot, right? If you watch the In Search of Oak Island series, you get to meet all of these guys. You meet this really, really old guy who actually passes away, some way through the run of it, but he was originally working on Oak Island. He got interviewed in Search Of as a young man because he was already there doing the work. So it's almost like, you watch The Curse of Oak Island, this episode of In Search Of is a prequel, right? Because here's Leonard Nimoy talking about this thing that I've learned so much more about, and I've watched these two Laguna brothers spend millions and millions of their own and Discovery Channel's money digging around this island trying to find stuff, and all they find is a frickin' coin and a belt buckle their whole life. But the In Search Of series episode of it in the series didn't know anybody would ever spend this much time and effort in it. So it's really just kind of like Atlantis. Well, here's this thing. It's a mystery and nobody cares. And I guess it's never going to be solved. Whoever knew? And now we can look back and see what else they have done.
Yeah. Cause John, you turned me on to the Mystery of Oak Island TV show way back when, cause I was both like, it was also something I read about when I was a kid and I saw the show. I went back and rewatched this episode also. And
did you? Yeah.
The most hilarious part though, he says they have spent a total of $300,000.
Oh my goodness.
To search for this treasure over the last 30 years or 100. And I'm like, they spent more than a season right now on this TV show. It was actually kind of cool to hear the story in Search Of was the same backstory you get in Oak Island. Like,
of course,
it really hasn't changed. Like, there's no new facts that really came out from the pre-life stuff. But it was, and they talk about how the, like a father and two sons died because of gas in the pit.
That's right. Yeah.
And they interviewed the mom.
I know. Yeah.
She was still alive when this show was done, but she's, passed away obviously a long time ago, but they actually interviewed her on this show. And I was like, holy cow, that's kind of creepy.
Yeah. It's a little snapshot in time. And, if there's any, you might think In Search Of is just about cryptids and ESP and stuff like that. But really, if there's anything you have an interest in, it ran for 6 seasons, like 30 episodes a season, almost 200 episodes. And they were reaching for topics. There's very likely an In Search Of topic, the episode covering that topic that you can go back and watch. And it is an interesting little snapshot in time. And that's why I think it's so cool.
It's the Smucker's Uncrustables podcast with your host, Uncrustables. Okay, today's guest is rough around the edges. Please welcome Crust.
Thanks for having me.
Today's topic, he's round with soft, pillowy bread.
Hey.
Filled with delicious PB&J.
Are you talking about yourself?
And you can take him anywhere.
Why'd you invite?
And we are out of time.
Are you really cutting me off?
Uncrustables are the best part of the sandwich. Sorry, Crust.
I was deep in it, gaming on Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 7. Unfolding the screen made it twice as big and so immersive, I kinda lost myself. Might have trolled a little too close to the sun. Someone in the chat told me to touch grass, so I took my Z Fold 7 outside and kept playing. Still won, got a tan, and a nice little reset. Powerful processor, realistic graphics, you stay locked in, streak stays alive. Can your phone do that?
The new Galaxy Z Fold 7. Get yours at Samsung.com.
If you're a die-hard Gen X grown-up, you can pledge your support by clicking join on YouTube or by becoming a patron at GenXGrownUp.com/Patreon.
A deadly bee is spreading northward toward the United States. A scientific test of their aggressiveness was attempted in Brazil by bee expert Dr. Norman Gary.
500 bees or so have already come out. They're hitting my legs like crazy. I think we're overdoing this one for sure. They're all over my ankles. I'm going to have to move out. One stinging me through the top of the head. Because I wasn't prepared for the kind of action we're getting here. One just got inside my veil. They're absolutely all over me. One's inside, two are inside my veil. One stung me in the ear. Sure wasn't prepared for this one.
Now, I've spent a lot of time in this episode talking about how In Search Of its original 6 seasons is so rewatchable today and worth going back. And there's stuff in it, even though it's now 43 years old or whatever it is, really, really old, or older, depending on what season you watch. And there are some, it has quite a long lineage. One of the things I did mention in the last episode is how it becomes even more interesting in hindsight is if something has changed. There's an episode all about the Titanic.
Oh, yeah.
And at the end of that episode, they're like, I guess it'll never be found.
That's right. They hadn't even found it at that point. They didn't know where it was.
Right. Of course, they know where it is. They just know it's gone, right?
Yeah, it sank.
And so you look back and say, oh, well, that's where they were then. They were at a stalemate. They're not going to find it. And now, of course, we now have new information. But because it continues to be of interest and it continues to have merit, it had a couple revivals. In 2002, it's interesting how they always get these genre actors. They had a revival, just ran one season for 8 episodes, hosted by Mitch Pileggi.
Who's that?
You might have known him from the X-Files. He was the
boss
of the X-Files. Skinner, their boss.
Oh, okay.
So he's a very dignified guy, big guy. So they had him hosting that. Didn't last very long, of course. And then, And then in 2018, They brought it back. The History Channel brought it back for 2 seasons, 18 episodes spanning 2 seasons. And they figured, let's get another Spock. Zachary Quinto was the host.
Yeah, why not?
Sure. So if they do it again, they're going to get Ethan, whatever the guy's name is.
Right, yeah. It's like, is it stunt casting? Are they just doing it? Because I know that Leonard Nimoy and Quinto were doing a lot of stuff together promotionally back then.
Sure, but he doesn't have the voice Nimoy had.
No, not the presence nearly. But
yeah.
I thought it was funny that they brought another character who played Spock and brought him in to host a revival of it. So, but that's it. Nothing since 2018 or 2019 is when that ended. And it was okay. It was a little more documentary and a little more experimental. Like Zachary Quinto was very involved, unlike Nimoy, who was just narrating. He was actually on site. He was talking to people and that kind of thing. And then there were spin-off books, which I didn't know about this. I guess, Mo, did you find this in the in your research? 6 different books: In Search of Lost Civilizations, Extraterrestrials, Magic and Witchcraft, Strange Phenomena, Missing Persons, there's your D.B. Cooper, and In Search of Myths and Monsters.
I mean, it feels like it should be a Time Life series.
I know.
Doesn't it
I think it's
like
a copy of, I think all 6 of those were Time Life books at one point.
Get them all for the low price of, 6 easy installments of $9.99.
But like, now I need those books. I didn't know they even existed.
I need the book.
He doesn't want them. He needs those books.
I need them now.
I don't know if you guys remember, if you saw Men in Black 2. I don't know if you guys remember that much about that movie, but there was a thing in it where like the real story that was happening in the movie was fictionalized in a TV show they were watching in the movie that was very similar to like In Search Of, but it was Peter Graves was narrating it.
Oh, that makes Peter Graves.
And so, but he's like, when did these aliens come to Earth? And who are these mysterious men in black that appear? Yeah, it was pretty funny.
That almost gives more credence to the original series. It's like, oh, maybe they actually did know what was going on.
Yeah.
And it was actually based on real stuff, right? That's nuts.
Yeah.
It continues to be something that is referenced in modern pop culture and stuff, even as recent as Men in Black 2, like you said. And it's a touchstone kind of thing where maybe it wasn't front and center, like for you, George, it was kind of in the background. It was part of the texture of what was going on in the late 70s and early 80s. And it's definitely worth seeking out and checking out now if you haven't. In Search Of. It's a great. I appreciate you guys for humoring me, allowing me to take in this
fun.
This memorable walk through this series that I really, really enjoy and still watch today. And it's partly because of Nimoy, but partly because it's just well done. I would say it's well done for the 70s and 80s. It's just well done, period. Yeah, it's cheesy reenactments and all that, but at the surface, they take everything seriously, and you're going to learn something about every single one of them. Even if they're weird and speculative, you're going to learn something about it. I think that's going to just about wind it up for this backtrack on In Search Of. Before I leave you, though, I want to, as always, thank another Patreon supporter over at GenXGrownUp.com/Patreon. And this is another one of those crazy upgrades. We talk about those every now and again. Sometimes we get new patrons, but I want to call out, I'm going to give you his whole name, Vincent Ferrari. He's an internet celebrity in his own right anyway. His last name is out there. He's been a supporter for a long time. He's been up and down when he's able to. And just recently he came in and bumped up to that $25 level. Vincent has been a supporter of our show and our endeavors for a long time. And like so many people, like all of us, we have to go through our ups and downs. Maybe we got to pull back, maybe we got to pull forward. And Vincent has always been there for us. And I wanted to just recognize him and thank him for coming back and upping that pledge. Very much supporting, keeping the lights on here at Gen X Grown Up, make sure we can keep doing what we do. Vincent, we appreciate you. You're part of a roster of amazing folks who support Gen X Grown Up and have all along the way ever since we met one another. And we're thankful that you did. You could be like Vincent. Just head over to GenXGrownUp.com/Patreon, open up your heart, your wallet, set up a pledge for as little as $1 a month, and you can also be part of keeping us going here on Gen X Grown Up. That's going to wrap it up then for this edition of the show. Don't worry, we'll be back in 2 weeks with another one. Next week is the standard edition of our show, of course. Until then, I am John. George, thank you so much for being here.
Yes, sir.
Mo, I appreciate you, brother.
Always fun, man.
Fourth listener, it's you we all appreciate most of all, though. We can't wait to talk to you again next time. Bye-bye.
See you guys.
Take care, everybody.
No life, no fun. Don't you know that you're a grown-up?
Gen X Grown Up is a member of the Evergreen Podcast family. Learn more at evergreenpodcasts.com.
No more watching shows till sunrise. Unacceptable for grown-ups. Your dinner cannot just be french fries. Basically, life sucks as a grown-up.
Some of it sounds like it won't ship in 2026, but that just means more to look forward to going into 2026. I'm sorry.
You said not shipping in 2026.
Yeah, sorry. Rewind. All right, here's the beginning. In 5, 4, 3, 2. Why did I say 2? That's weird.